Hi there, I'm Charlie. This is Mabel. Welcome to November for you. I I keep calling these junk drawer videos because I recorded all of these. Today is September 9th. Just recorded a bunch of videos September 7th, 8th, and 9th. Just because it felt like the inspired thing to do. And it's kind of resulted in just a lot of things just sort of falling their way out. A very similar process that I had April 19th through the 24th of this year, 2025. Hi, thank you. When I went on a complete writing, put it all out there. I just had a big download, get it out. And when I did that, it resulted in how many 60 Substack posts and 2 books fully done. And so I'm trying to synthesize things into video form that are coming out on a weekly basis. And part of that is documentation of awakening capacities and channeling abilities, and the clairs is what people call them. Because you go back in your life and you're like, ooh, actually, I've had some of these things online for longer than I realized. Oh, my bad. Because there's not a lot of things that we often pay attention to when they can be explained by other things, or what we think are other things. Namely, trauma and being distracted by trying to follow the life script as best you can and being exhausted by life. It's kind of hard to pay attention to what kinds of capacities you have online when you're not in just you mode. You're in the everywhere mode. Do all the things, help all the people, be in charge of all the things, be responsible for all the whatevers. So what am I documenting today? What am I documenting today? No, okay, not animal communication. I'm just going to continue doing a little bit more with my tiny cue cards and with drawing and with channeling, because I still have an open and accessible channel here to that fairy realm and Scout and other internal family members who are clearly my guides now. Part of kind of learning, remembering, but learning how to do things like read Akashic records, how to channel. It's unique and it's very specific to you. Some people do have programs for it. They do have, what do you want? You want my hand? Okay. They have programs for it. They have ways of doing it that are very protocoled and do it like this. And those are obviously very useful and very helpful ways of knowing how they do something, which you can then use for your own, just like anything else in school. Learn what other people know and how they've mastered something, and then master it their way, and then play with it. Then do whatever it is you need to do. Okay. And so this is part of me doing that whole thing, I guess, is just showing you how I've been going about throwing out the rule book on everything I've known and been taught, except for pay attention, be discerning, and when something comes through that's not highest good, love and light, take a step back from it and see what's going to go on. So I talked in the last video about intrusive thoughts, because they don't stop if you're channeling. You almost get them amplified, and then you're able to laser focus into a very not you timeline, basically. And what you want to be cautious of is not anchor pointing yourself into that, because we do anchor point ourselves into futures. We if you go to sit down and write a book, like the book that I have literally right here is Lee Harris's book. I haven't finished it. I got through it, not even a quarter of the way through, basically, and everything in me was you need to put this down now. Why? It's because it will create too much of a feedback loop. If you were part of creating something, which if you're going through an enlightening process and you are taking in this kind of content, you are adding, you were part of adding to it through time and space, because Lee pulls things from outside of time and space. So when anything comes through from the Z's, or just Lee's own channeling of himself, not needing other entities, things, you're pulling from you're pulling from as much of the everyone as you can tolerate yourself, as much as you can bring through. And someone like Lee, the man brings through decades at a time. It's a lot. Like, to read this, that's a lot. But when it was first, like, the first action of it was the interview that was channeling things through, right? There was an intention for it to be book at different decided upon points between different parties. Interesting. And so when you do something like that, when you have the, let's call it the idea for a book, and you go, I have an idea for a book, I have a storyline, I have a character, I have a something. It's an idea phase. It's currently outside of your time and space. It's just in the where you can access, right? So then you take an action and you say, this is my book title. I know, Mabel. Would you like to join in on this conversation? Come here. Yeah. Because all I did was write the word book title, right? Book title. You want to come here? I won't write. You can come on up here. I can just talk. That's fine. Wrong side? Oh, boob punch. Oh, yeah. Ugh. So, you want to write a book, right? You just have the urge, you have the desire. It's clearly just in here. As the book doulas put it, you are pregnant with your book. You have now created an Akashic record container that will eventually become a book. Might not. Plenty of things that we anchor into future points, future anchor points, meaning it got created, it exists as a artifact in our world that we can purchase and share and talk about and hold, right? The physical thing. That act of creation is thousands and thousands of acts of creation in between when you first decide and sort of set an anchor pointed future, a contract you're setting with yourself to create something, and when it actually happens. And in between are just all of these other Akashic level contracts that you set with yourself, you set with others, you set with time itself. Because the typical creation process for something like a book is many, many years, involves usually a lot of people. I speed ran writing and publishing 2 of them just to see how fast I could and still make something that I'm at least most of the time proud of, because I can at least look at it and be like, yeah, it's not great, but whatever. It was an experiment, and it was really just the art of doing, and the art of doing with as much offline internal guidance as I could, because I wasn't as connected in to my former family, now turned guides, who've been guides the whole time, but I haven't been able to talk to them. Grief shuts off channels. It makes it really, really hard to re-entangle, because you have just that weight and that misdirectionality of resonance. Like, if you're trying to tune into someone who is not here anymore, who is not physically like embodying anyone or anything in the here and the now, you can tune into their last lifetime. But if those beings shared a physical body with you, you don't want to do that, because being tethered to your own past is part of trauma looping stuff. We just do that naturally. You experience some sort of, you experience something that the mind can't really handle, and the mind basically sticks a pin in it, but sticks, your body in it. You can kind of think of yourself as, if you have a timeline that's going across, something really bad happens, your body's just like, we're going to stick a pin in that, and we'll revisit it on the next cycle of whatever it got stuck to. And depending on your belief systems, that can be planetary orbits and actions. That can be dates. Like, good Lord, everyone knows that, or everyone who knows trauma knows that trauma dates are a thing. You come up on a date when you had a significant trauma. If maybe you've forgotten what that date was, your body has not forgotten. Your body understands that numbers on calendar, date, oh no, like, at least part of you remembers. May not be consciously aware of it, but definitely remember. And the cells that encode it pull it back up to the surface. And so you can experience, you re-experience the trauma itself, and it does replay out. As much of it replays out as you are capable of handling and willing to take in and pay attention to. And if you push it aside and you don't really, it's sort of like you either see it for what it is and allow it to hang out with you, like Mabel sitting on my lap, where I'm just like, all right, what you here for? You're here to stop me from writing and just talk? All right, I'm allowing it because there's something that's coming out, something that's a bit of personal information that's being relayed and shared in a channeled fashion. And I'm just asking internally, like, is there anything else anybody wants me to say? No, okay. Because I'm still uncomfortable openly sharing my innermost thoughts and world and channeling capacities to strangers. It's fucking terrifying. I have lost all of my friends due to this shit. I'm trying to rebuild a relationship with my in-laws so that they won't like just disown me too. And I'm trying to keep my marriage as afloat as I can, because this shit's hard when you're not both going through it and you don't both have the context for it. I have context now. I've put myself through like school to learn and get up to date on like what on earth is going on with the spirituality of this world right now. Imagine my surprise when I started learning and was like, oh my God, there are millions of us that are having these conversations. Okay, awesome, helpful, very helpful. I hope others who are going through this alone have something. That's a little bit why I'm here. Like, hey, has your awakening not been fun? Do you look at people online who are just talking all this beautiful stuff and abundance is coming and just all of the things, and you're like, you know, I respect and appreciate your perspective and your capacity to see all the good, and it's been a shit ride for me. I don't like this amusement park. Then asterisk on that goes, and I am fascinated by who I'm like disentangling myself away from to find out who I am in this process. And what's really funny / depressing, sad about that is that something like creative flourishing, like just channeling out a bunch of junk drawer videos like this, is resulting in fear-based thoughts and feelings of, am I just doing this because I'm about to die? You tell me, Mabel. Like, for real, it's been a lot. I've had a lot of transition stuff, a lot of things. And I'm no stranger to the personal transition coming feeling. I know it. I've known it in dogs. I've known it in my personal life, been through a lot of deaths, and then I've known it in just timeline collapse stuff that, you know, you could argue isn't real, but you still have somatic experiences from things that when you ask later, you're like, what was that? It was like, oh, don't worry about it. It was just another anchor point that got dissolved so that you're not actually in that timeline. You're not part of that contract anymore, but you still had to play it out until we could get to the exit point for that contract. Like, it turns into this like bigger picture question of like, what the fuck is being a human right now? And what are we doing as far as, you know, personal levels of contracts that we're, as far as I can tell, on a pretty constant level of renegotiating with our daily choices, actions, intentions, what we want out of life, you know? And what I've really found is that just the more flexible I've become in not only allowing some of the less fun thoughts and feelings to come through, like I was sitting at lunch, just eating some stuff, getting through, and then the feeling came in because this urge to make another video popped up. Pops up just like any other creative urge does, says, hey, another video? And I went, I've done so many, really? Another video? And then came yeah, because what if I really am about to die? And I just kind of sat with that feeling for a minute, and I went, okay. And I let it come out. I let it just sort of show itself started crying. Like Randy could see what was going on, so he did a very kind thing and just turned off the TV and just sat on the thing, just like, okay, what's up? And I told him, and he was unfazed. And the reason for that is because when you are still in this exploratory phase of having some of these, like, people call them clairs, but like reading Akashic records, doing intuitive work, channeling in information, especially when it's new and you don't necessarily have a lot of support in your life that isn't screen based. That's the important thing. Like, we all are much more in tune with each other with these parasocial relationships than we realize. And I definitely do see how I am capable of sustaining myself on parasocial relationships and internal guidance alone, but that does not make any of the things that come up for you feel safe to disclose, feel safe to even allow yourself to keep thinking sometimes, and so you shut it down frequently, right? Especially something like that, where you're like, I'm not walking into like accepting my death. That's not happening. And that's not really the point of why I brought that up. Why I'm sort of telling you that. I sort of bring it up because as I was saying it out loud, because it's so helpful to hear yourself say things. It just is. Hearing your own voice is important. We hear a lot of other voices all day long. Hearing your own voice is actually really important. Just so you know what you think and what you're saying, and if your voice cadence changes, if you're channeling, and maybe you're in open channel state and something else is coming through. It literally can be an aspect of a wounded part of yourself. Like I've mentioned before on here, suicidality is just a thing that I lived with on a daily basis for like 30 some years. Like for real, like 35 years. Daily, like, nope, exit now, like pull the cord, want to pull the cord, and then like, yeah. So thoughts of death, very common for me. Very common for me. Not terribly scary at this stage. At this stage for me, it's more of a like, really? After everything I've been through and I'm finally feeling like I'm actually starting to do something, like I would leave now? Are you fucking kidding me? So if that's the case and you're watching this posthumously, fuck whatever did that. But like my general feeling of it is I've been very wrong about big things that come through in the same cadence as intrusive thoughts do. And it's not necessarily that they're even pointing to anything that's not there, but I'm pretty sure I've played out like my first house's big trauma event because in reading the like Akashic record of the house, I stuck a pin in it before it happened. Basically, like I didn't continue reading the house's Akashic record myself for its own history past a certain date in its like, you know, you pull in the record because you're entangled with the house, because I owned the house, I lived in the house. You get entangled with a space, so you get entangled with the space's history. You have the capacity to embody some of it sometimes. And by accidentally experimenting with pre-birth communication in written form that I did not realize was like channel writing. I mean, it was channel writing, and I guess I kind of knew that, but like, some of us engaged in like, in the standard like back and forth of a bargaining debate of like, I'm very excited. Are you ready to come in? Like I there was a very distinct couple of future potential beings that we conversed with in written form, and that actually did create a level of an Akashic contract. And now I'm on the other side of certain things, but the encoding of that experience in that house is still a part of my past and my history, and part of an open contract situation that I had to close. Still needing to? It is closed. Okay. And you like don't know these things until you go questioning yourself even and say like, what am I entangled with? what stuff is still impacting my ability to move forward and do the things that I want to do and take next steps of some sort. And it's not like you just dissolve these contracts in an instant and then everything is just better, because contracts and like future anchor pointed things, like it's 2011 or 12 or it's 2000, okay, yeah, it's 2012. I've started doing channel writing for the, not for the first time that I'm aware of, but I've definitely doing channel writing as a pre-birth communication tool after learning about pre-birth communication and even having a meeting with someone who does it as a specialty. So when you meet with someone who does stuff, you turn it on. You get a quantum entanglement with them. When you meet somebody like through a screen, or even just like you pay for services from somebody, hell, you're doing this right now, you're turning shit on. Channeling capacities, clairs, any of this content does that. Any of this content does that. Period. It just does. And it's maybe in the direction that you think it is, but honestly, as long as you're not trying to do it as a mental, like, really avoid the Pokemon, like, gotta catch them all, gotta turn them all on. Like, avoid that. Avoid it. I've turned on a lot of them, and it's been sort of a necessity thing, not really a, like, personal choice thing. Like, there's other things I've wanted to do. I got a couple other books for things that I'm not going to show you right now, but just like other like I heard about it and was like, ooh, that sounds fun. And so I would like get a book, or I would get a thing, because once you start going through the process of entangling with that person who has like really they've done so well with that skill, they've been able to put it into a book, they've been able to create an artifact of it that teaches and educates in a way that's you open the book, you read the book, you entangle with it, you practice, you do the things in your way. It's like the kind of thing that gets buried underneath something else, right? And you start doing something else, and then like maybe a year later you're like, oh right, I got this book and I really wanted to do the thing. Maybe is now the time, and you can kind of like check in with yourself as far as which avenues to start pursuing. I say all of that because I did not continue pursuing pre-birth communication of any sort after about 2014, 2015. And I really just channel wrote some, always deeply skeptical about all of the things. Because again, like how can you prove your channel writing to potential children, especially when you just keep not being able to get or then stay pregnant. So, yeah, there's just a lot of, there's a lot more that when you look back on your life, you can see some of the signs that were there amidst all of the life chaos that you had going on. And if you're really getting into this kind of stuff, it's, I don't want to be such a downer PSA person. Like, don't go into it. Don't this, that, and the other. No, do go into it. Explore it. Just continue to play with it when you get the odd urge in a way that's artistic in nature and in a way that's outside of a comfort zone that then also still fills you up. I've been making these videos as a form of why do I like this exploration for myself. That's why there are so many from the same couple of days. And I'm actively like anxious about the fact that I put future, projected, this is going to be my life things with dates and other people. Like, what the fuck? That's a very bold, crazy move. But why the fuck do I like, Scout even showed me, but also I see truly, like, there's John Oliver's like self, and then like image of me, one of the images of me that I've put out there, because I've done a pretty good job of branding myself. I've been setting myself up to be seen, and I didn't realize I was doing it until June. Started it last August. Didn't realize I was doing it until June of this year. And things really kicked off after the eclipse in March, because it went after I'd spent all of last year recovering from just PTSD of shit. And then discovering, relearning basically the Akashic Records, having another big thing, and then showing up however it is I'm showing up now to the world. So we punt things into our own future every time we have a dream. We say, haha, that, definitely want that, Akashic record point set. Or don't want that, avoid that, Akashic record point set. It's not necessarily just what you want. It can also be in directions of no, don't want, but still anchored. Because it depends on what actions you take. If you have a great idea for a book, do you start working on it? Or does it just become a thing that goes away? And sure, you might have like a million things that are basically the open tabs of life, where you're like, well, I started this book, or I started this project, or this, that, and the other, and it never got there. I'm really just finding, though, that even just the anchor point of the video game that we've got, December 31st, 2027, that is when it's coming out. Patreon.com/MiriamsQuest. MYRIAM. That's what we're trying to do. We, meaning myself and my husband, did originally have a friend for music. That friend, I don't know where we stand right now as of today. So I don't know if there will be a different person helping with music. I am also a musician. I just don't really have great skills at playing instruments, but I can learn. And at least for the video game we're making this year, I do intend to make the music for it, so that I can more so learn music and things. And while Randy's learning Godot and he's making the art, and I've already made the cards, but I'm going to be making the cards. It's a whole thing, right? And I'm asking myself, truly, why am I making this video to launch in November, here on September 9th? And what comes through is to say goodbye to YouTube. So I'm going to just channel out a bit more information. Because like I said, been scared that this flurry of creative, write it out, get it out, it has the big flavor of, why do I write, why am I recording like I'm running out of time? Like, why am I doing that? And it's not coming from that perspective, actually. That's just because I love music and I love Hamilton. So, and yeah, I do have like fun. I feel like no one's gonna believe that one, but there's just this weird collection of there's just this weird collection of things I've definitely already done to playtest myself and show myself what I am capable of doing with music and with channeled other humans, actually. Because if you can channel anything, like perspective, people. I've allowed channeled access to things that my body can do. And those who use their bodies in other channeled ways, who use their bodies as light language tools, right? I mean, I think anybody can watch someone who performs dance or some sort of physicality in a way that you're looking at it and you're like, oh, that's light language. Like, I call it, it basically just means that your circuitry is full channel mode first. It's also the same reason why babies and like, I call it like redneck physics, right? Because like, everybody's got a family member that's done some stupid shit, right? And especially in like the redneck families. There's an uncle. It's just an uncle story. It's all I'm gonna say. This was, I believe, the 80s, maybe 90s. I'll give it to that. But this man was in the mountains, just driving around. He got drunk, got in the car. Obviously, don't fucking do that. But he was in the car. This car was newer. It had cruise control. And yeah, the man hit cruise control thinking it would take over for driving the car. This is like, seriously, it's like the 80s or the 90s. Like, I think late 80s. Maybe earlier. I don't know. Earlier, like cruise control more. Okay. I'm getting like different, it's funny, I get differing like dates of things. And when I ask more, they're just like, because you're actually pulling from more than just one person's story, even though it is that story that you're telling. It's sort of a collective archetype of a story told through one lived experience that I'm aware of that is one of a shared lineage of redneck physics. Okay. Because it's very, there's a level, like, when someone does something stupid and like all you can think is, damn, the guardian angel really took care of that one. Yeah. A little bit. But when we're born, our bodies are resonant. That's why newborns, like, I mean, I'm not going to say a universal truth that everyone who sees a newborn is just like, filled with the spirit, right? But ideally you are. Ideally you are, because this is a body first being. You come in body first. It's why there are reflexes. It's why there's a seeking to match. You match milk, mother, ha. And that might not be the case for everybody. I certainly didn't have that, but there is a way of connecting internal circuitry that allows for senses and body basedness to be the only form of communication for those first couple of years. It's a reason words don't come till later. Body's in charge. And body's in charge most of the time for kids, unless something comes in and cuts and creates one of those bifurcation points where at least part of you goes into sort of a stasis field. I just got the question while this was sort of moving itself around of, do you want to keep explaining things, Charlie? And my answer is honestly, no, not right now. Then I got, why would you like to hold off? My answer is simply because at the moment, I don't know who is providing me with the hand movements to go along with my words. So, just heard thank you for stopping. I'm gonna get my pen out and I'm just gonna channel write and talk with more water. I know this looks gross, but it's just water inside of a cup that formerly had green, lots of green plants that turned into liquid. Smoothie, there it is. Guess what you can't do when you're channeling? Trivia. Your brain turns into mush because you're not actually able to access most of it. I mean, like, you're accessing things, but like, when you're in gamma state, guess what doesn't matter? Details. Details don't matter. And it's why you can spin yourself out, because when you go into channel states on a regular basis, depending on when you're doing it, you can just be on the crest of a wave where continuing to channel can flick you off into a different trajectory for yourself, and you can end up making things that can veer you off. I am currently doing this as a form of intentional YouTube-based future anchor pointed stuff. And I'm currently interfacing with an entity, series / group of entity, okay, with no name yet, but being presented through Gaia. Guy is kind of my gatekeeper for anyone who's not my family. Basically, I've got my family. I don't really want to call them the family because then it becomes a Fast and Furious thing, and that's funny, but we can call ourselves something else later. It doesn't matter. Okay. None of us like labels. I don't really like labels either because I'm like, whatever. There's several that you could apply to whatever this whole fucking thing has been. Because I also do, I actually genuinely enjoy getting high and then just like interfacing with somebody because I have funny, weird things to say, I think. I just also am mindful of being like, I don't want to be your, let's make fun of the person who had DID, who we think still has DID. And the reason she doesn't keep saying that she has DID is because it literally feels disrespectful for her to do that. That's why it's like, I don't have it. I don't. There's only one of me now. And I know because I know what resonance feels like when someone is actively sharing time in my body. And it is still mine. There is no co-piloting and co-sharing anymore. Watched it all happen. And I will just show you, okay? Because are they not all built the same? Okay, that makes sense then. Let's just say that these are the varying headquarters inside, all right? And through just intentional, like, taking care and doing some of that, like, internal work, you build all these bridges between them all. Imagine the inside of Riley's head, but lots of headquarters and it all looks like the Ewok village, right? Yeah, Mabel, do you want to come here? No, you just want to bark? I respect that. I am going to ask you to stop, though. Yeah. No, we need a shh. You good? Thank you. Good. We'll go for a WALK in just a minute. Yeah, we'll go. So that's how things were for a couple years through second grad school. It's how seriously, like, I know I've talked about it before and I'm not really that like proud of it or anything, but because it was such a thing from the 90s for us internally, there was just like this very big sense of like, ha, I knew it wasn't stupid, of getting into Mensa, taking the test. Because like you switch a bunch, it's hard when there's like a freaking several hour long test with a bunch of things that are not indicative of intelligence. They're just not, okay? Like, they're not. Not to mention the racist undertones of like everything and the fact that the test was created to be exclusionary and only for the white man. Like they haven't updated it, so it's fine. It's cool. It's fine. I found fun people. Did fun things, found fun people. Was trying to just make friends, but this is how things were, and this is just functional multiplicity. It's where we wanted to be. I'm actually like not like I'm actively upset and angry, just because life has been kind of shit without my family. Like this weekend, truly, the weekend. I mean, it's Tuesday for me now, but these 3 days and a couple weeks prior, but not like this, is me coming back online. I hear you, baby. Mabel, can you hold on for just another few minutes? Thank you. Because the thing about internals is not a lot of us spend a whole lot of time there, I guess. And it really is just, it's just bigger. There's a lot more going on in there than we think. And a lot of what comes in, like this is basically the headquarters now, which there's other speakers too. These are just little speakers, when like you with the microphone kind of, back out to others. When senses are involved, this level of communication happens instantaneously and alongside the conversation you're having. When it's live, same thing, different experience though, because not all your senses are involved. If you've only experienced somebody from the other side of a screen, you've never actually smelled them, touched them, been in their central nervous system bubble, which there's varying degrees of what folks have been able to identify as being how far out of our electrical field we can kind of feel things. But, like the roughly 6 feet is a pretty good like bubble of energetic space before things really start to dissipate, right? When you have a quantum entanglement with somebody in the flesh, central nervous system to central nervous system, you are interacting with them in your physical here and now, and you're engaging in internal communications that happen too on that Akashic level, where those unseen tethers are getting tangled up, right? Like really and truly, you're just kind of, we walk around our days like adding bits and pieces of people to our internal lines. And when we go to sleep, a lot of them get deleted. We're like, and bye. No. And you just kind of set up a bunch of different Akashic contracts and just, I've said it before, but we're like, to be human right now is to be part of a really big group project. You came in to help with the human evolution timeline. Or just to ride the ride. You may not be helping. You may just be here to ride the ride and see what the this is right now, But yeah, when we're getting in touch with others, we are having this happen. And so if you have all of these internal headquarters still online, when you're doing like a lot of channeling work, what you can end up doing, just depending, is you can end up like crossing wires and crossing streams, and the sound of it can kind of just reverberate out, just like whoa, whoa, whoa. And it really does just sort of deconstruct everything there, because what is kind of getting created in that is a renewal cycle. And that's what that self-love frequency apparently does. It kicks off a renewal cycle. Birth, right? Like the hey cells, there's something new here. Time to re-up. Time to recontextualize. And I'm kind of just sort of asking now, like show me what it looks like now. And what they're kind of showing me is, and I've seen this before, so that there's an element of like, okay, well, is this me, or am I just pulling this from something I've seen Adamas say? Because I've taken a lot of spiritual content, so it's entirely possible that I'm just putting something back out that, yeah, I'm just pulling from sort of a memory situation. But I can say that the consciousness of what is being drawn, I don't know what's coming out of my hand. It's just getting drawn. And this is from my personal family collective, of what my headquarters currently looks like. And because I'm just using inside out terms because it's easier, right? So there's me right there in the headquarters. Okay. Got it. Sorry, they're just showing lines within lines because I'm seeing an eye actually now. Okay. I'm getting headquarters is more eye than brain. Makes sense. You are here, and then okay. So all I'm getting right now is headquarters is more eye than brain. You are here, namely the iris, and there I am. Basically, that's what they're saying. Eyes as seats. Okay, that's pretty old saying. Pretty much know that. Okay, now I'm getting drawn to eyes. Are we going with? Yep. Okay. Okay. I have bifurcated my brain and body into Charlie. I exist through this eye. Sure. My internal family has the encoded and only provided external viewing capacity in privacy, never on camera. Okay. You're watching me set Akashic contracts in real time with where in my body I'm allowing for certain channeled entities to permanently take up residence until the end of their contract with me, which ends at personal choice, current death. Oh, okay. Cool. So the fuck did I just do? Also my eyes, I need a second. Oh, okay, yeah, y'all do what you need to do. Okay. So there's a somatic response right now that's sort of locking some things in as far as what senses are operational for the channeled entity that I've got going on. Some folks, when they channel, do it with their whole body. They get up, they walk around, they talk, their eyes are open. Some, their eyes are closed. That's actually a really safe practice, is closed eyes. Especially when you're starting. Like there's a lot coming through. And there's almost a level of personal lived experience, Akashic recording, you could say, that happens because we're living here. The Akashic records are just the recording of all of the data, and we do record somatic data. Like sensory data gets encoded into a lived experience. It's all just part of what's helpful for a soul to understand things, you know? If you're going to help guide one who comes next, you do need some context. It's hard to provide guidance to humans when you've never been a human. Yeah, there are plenty of entities that provide us with information, which is really helpful, but they've never ridden the human ride. So all of their stuff is theoretical. they just don't have the lived experience of it. And sometimes they don't have the recent lived experience of it. But I have locked gates on a lot of my senses when it comes to sensory provided readings, just due to the open accessibility capacity of the internal headquarters that I have, because it's not like I just destroyed my brain. I didn't like set an amoeba in there, or I don't believe I have a brain that's been inundated with like Alzheimer's or something. And I get confirmation when I ask it. It's like, no, just reconstituted what needed to be reconstituted, did a few more zip zaps than were maybe necessary, and kind of just removed the internal entanglements between things. But those pre-created bodily encoded locations, as far as where in my brain can someone like Scout talk from? Because I can talk, and so can she. But she's coming to you from some lit up region in, where are you? Oh, okay, right there in my brain. That's where it's probably like, if you had a little fMRI situation. That's my theory. Very curious if others are as curious about what brain body thing I got going on. As of yet, I've reached out to researchers. I've gotten radio silence. Nobody cares. Nobody that I've contacted cares. I don't contact people like this, though. I'm much more professional. I'm like, hi, I started spontaneously doing things with my hands in a language that feels like a language to me, based on information that comes out when I speak it at the same time, and then allow for certain entities to kind of just do whatever they want. Because honestly, when you've lived with DID, I'm not interested in a solo life anymore. I literally had to do it for like a year. A little more than a year. It sucked. It sucked. It sucked to lose my internal family. It sucked to be completely fucking alone in here. It sucked to have to do all of that with the beautiful experience that I absolutely had during that near-death experience, even though it was also really kind of horrifying to think about. It was beautiful. And that beauty got ripped the fuck away from me by people. Institutional people who don't know what they're doing and don't understand where we are as humanity and don't have more than the bare minimum in them to treat people coming into an emergency room. Bad. Very bad. And I really, really hope is not indicative of what the rest of this country, the world, everybody, I don't know. But when people who are awakening are met with institutional botness, I don't really know how else to put it. You think we're worried about AI? Like, y'all should be worried about the people who have turned themselves into as much of an AI as they can, because it's the only way they've been able to cope with life and their corporate environment. Yeah. I'm just checking in because this has already turned into a long video, and I just want to make sure there's nothing else that anybody wants to say before I get out of here with my, what was this about? I don't know. Just really felt compelled to make a video where I share that I'm scared that doing all of these in succession and then scheduling them is something bad, but that's just sort of an affirmation to whoever needs to hear it, that yeah, sometimes you just channel in things that are just fucking intrusive thoughts, or from a timeline that's not yours, or from, like, and by timeline that's not yours, I also just mean like past lives. Like, even if it's not like the eye, you really can think of reality creation like, you know, you are this is what you have access to. Think of it as like a ball, though. But where you're directing your attention in any given day determines what things you're pulling in for your next attention-worthy moment. And then throughout your day, you're just sort of like gathering up bits of, here's what I want in my life, depending exclusively on what attention you're bringing in. And so you're taking, like, I consider it like this circle is like, the internals is like the here and the now, right? And this is the outside of time. So you're bringing things from outside of time in their little looped capacity right on back in. But if all you're doing all day is paying attention to what you're afraid of, you're heading toward the fear box. you go scrounging in the toy box of like the everything, and you're terrified all the time because that's the only content you're consuming, because it's the only thing you want to consume. Yeah, that's what's gonna come out. You're like, and maybe not in lived experience necessarily, as long as you're also doing other things, but everything isn't love, light, ascension, yay. Many things are just hidden that are still part of you and still desperately need your attention as much as anything else does. One last part wants to come out and say hi. What would you like to say? I heard I would like to say I'm sorry. It is not yours. I hear mine is who dies. Who? we are not able to say. Is there anything else that you'd like to allow through? I heard in a very young voice, we do not want to talk about that which you will not see. That's how I know that I'm good to just stop, move on, let myself get distracted for a minute by the, let's see, oh, probably 57 things in my like immediate visual space that I could be doing with my time in a way that actually helps me or progresses some sort of storyline in my life that I've started. Because that's all I've been able to really ground into these days when everything is so fucking chaotic is I know that I can't really do anything about the big stuff beyond take it and observe it, make choices for myself, make choices for those that I can do anything with that feel good. And then just fucking get to work. Because that's what I care about right now. Like, maybe that's really silly, but it's what I like, it's what I care about, it's what's making all of this sort of happen. So to that end, I'm just going to leave this with one final channeled through message. What would you like to say? Oh, okay. I thought it was cute at first, but See, now every single thing I do makes me have more questions. It says worry is for January, but not for you. And then when I ask, like, for real, what does that mean? Because it feels like my brain immediately goes to some sort of ominous place, right? I get a song playing. I get the "Don't Worry, Be Happy" song playing in my head. Loops back to the fear of death. Do not fear, which will not. Then it stopped and I heard here. Okay. Stay curious, stay open. You're wrong about most things. Fair. I'm wrong about most things. At least insofar as like this future thing is definitely like coming, right? Like all of the videos that I've posted through October and now into November, please know I was not comfortable posting a goddamn one of them. Nope, just did it because it was like felt like a personal challenge, and it felt like a personal challenge in a very like friend bro kind of way. Like, if you do this, it'll be fun. If you do this, it'll be fun. That was the vibe. That's why I did it. If it had been a fear-based one, if it had been sort of a like, if it had been one that had felt like a scam, like this is like, I genuinely mean this. Just treat your channeled downloads like they're emails. And I'm pretty sure you'll be able to discern a little bit better, because it's all about how you feel when you take it in, and it's all about how you feel when you take actions on it. I've channeled through things that were really rude and kind of offensive for me, but like it's almost like a gauging of me being like, how do I really feel about this? And sometimes when it's something not nice, kind of scathing, I find it funny. Like, that's kind of funny because I don't feel that way. It's funny that this channeled message says so, or this channeled through point in my own personal physical history that needs to come out is here, because that is not my here and now. That's all I know. It's not my here and now. It's not me. And the other part of that is this helpful? If so, how? Is this causing harm? Is it something I really want to do? So I am posting this video. I'll see what's going on for me in November. Hope you're having a good November. I assume you'll see me around. Bye for now.